Good morning, all of you, my dear students. Today I am going to teach you one of the most important uh, sonnets composed by the world-known playwright William Shakespeare. All the world is a stage. So this poem is highly philosophical and very easy to understand. Nothing is difficult in this poem. So I think this is the second part or second video for this poem. In my first video, we have almost learned the half of the portion. I don't want to repeat the things here. All the world is a stage is a well-known monologue found in William Shakespeare's As You Like It. This speech of Jack's explores the seven ages of man and their implications. So I just tell you in short all about the poem, then we will go in its depth. This is the poem that talks about the philosophy of life and different stages that man is compulsorily going through in his span of life. So the famous speech, All the World is a Stage, was first published as a part of As You Like It in the first folio in 1623. So we have seen this thing. Then we also uh, talk about the different interpretations on the poem and the summary as well. So before we proceed further, I would like to read out the original lines here. Then we will focus our attention on its meaning. The poem is very simple to understand. Let's go through it. All the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. And his acts being seven ages, at first the infant, mewing and poking in the nurse's arms, and then winning schoolboy with his satchel, and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like Fernaz with a awful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier full of strange oaths, bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippery pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful horse, well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank and his big manly voice. Turning again toward childish treble pipes and whistles in his sound, last scene of all that ends the strange eventful history is second childness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans teeth, sans everything. So these are the beautiful lines from the poem As You Like It, spoken by Jacques to Duke Senior. So let's interpret the poem in its fullest sense and try to understand what the poem says. So I think we have almost learned much of the syllabus. So there should not be any repetition of the things. So I proceed directly from the point, the seven ages of man onwards. The seven ages of life as described by Jacques in All the World is a Stage, are. What are the 7 stages that Shakespeare is very much interested to talk about in this poem? The first stage is infancy, second is boyhood, third is adolescence or teenage, fourth is youth, fifth is middle age, sixth is old age, seventh, death. Very simple. Please note down if you are with a pen and a notebook. Shakespeare is talking about the 7 ages of man in this poem. So these 7 ages of man are considered to be the 7 stages of life, which were described by Jacques in his monologue in All the World is a Stage. So these 7 ages of man are: number 1, infancy; number 2, boyhood; number 3, adolescence or teenage; number 4, youth; number 5, middle age; number 6, old age; number 7, death. So let's have a look at these 7 stages. Infancy, the poet William Shakespeare is talking about infancy uh, from lines 5th and 6th, from 5th line to 6th. He is talking about infancy. Line number 7 to 8, boyhood, and line number 9 to 11, adolescence or teenage. In lines 11 to 15, he talked about youth. Lines 15 to 19, he talked about middle age. Then lines 19 to 25, he talked about old age. Then lines 25 and 28, up to 28, he talked about death. So what exactly he says about infancy? The first stage of man's life is infancy, infantry. In the monologue, readers can find an image of a baby crying softly and throwing up in the caregiver's lap. So this is the first stage of your life, that is infancy. You are born as a child, small kid. Okay. So in the monologue, it is stated that this is your first stage of your life when you are born. When you are born, the first stage of your life is that you are a kid, you are a baby crying softly. And you need the care of the caretaker. You need to be very sensitively and very carefully handled by the elders. So here you see one more amazing thing in life. Just I remember here, that's why I want to tell you that whenever you are born, the people are very happy. Okay. So whenever you are born, the people are very happy. And when you die, the people become very sad. This shows that your birth is happiness and death is despair or sorrow. So when you are born, the people are happy, maybe because they think that you are going to suffer a lot in this life. That's why they are very happy. And when you die, the people are sad because you redeem from all your problems in your life, plight and predicament, sufferings, troubles, problems. And the people are happy. People are sad because they think about their own sufferings in life. So it's our own interpretation of life. We can take the life in this fashion. So infancy, this is the first stage of the man's life in which the man is a baby crying softly and needs the care and the share of happiness with all others. In the second stage, that is the boyhood. The second stage of human life is boyhood. So in this second stage, Shakespeare is talking about the image of a man is like a school going boy. You recall, simply recall your days when you were a boy going to a school. So no child wants to go to school because school going is a bit troublesome, a bit harmful, because their real happiness or the world of their real happiness will be lost, they may think, once they go to school. So that's why they hesitate to go to school. They are unwilling to go to school. And this phase is the second phase of the human life, that is the boyhood. So the same feelings are there in this phase, like a boy. Then man grows up, then he has the third stage, that is the adolescence or teenage. So in this stage, William Shakespeare presents an image of a dejected lover who composes sad songs for his beloved. So teenage is a romantic phase wherein the man is portrayed as a lover, but not that kind of lover who is very happy. Shakespeare has also said that there are three mad people in this world. The first is the lunatic. Lunatic means mad, who is in the asylum. The second mad person in this life is the poet. The poet has nothing to do with this world. He is always in his own world of imagination. He loves to be in his own world of imagination. That's why he is called as a mad person, because he does not have any contact with this physical nature. Then the third mad person is a lover. A lover is always lost. He is in his own world of romanticism, in his own world of love for his beloved. So the third stage is the stage of third stage is the stage of the adolescence or teenage, in which a dejected lover composes sad songs for his beloved. Then the fourth stage is there, that is the stage of the youth. This is the youth stage that each and every individual on this earth experiences this. Youth stage, in this stage, he projects the stage of youth by depicting the life of a soldier. So he compares the youth with a soldier. Soldier is known for his bravery. You have to fight. So as a soldier, a person in his youth is unafraid of dire challenges. He is brave and he accepts many challenges. He is unafraid and unaware of many challenges in life. So he boldly faces the problems in this stage. So thereafter, there is next stage that Shakespeare is talking about, that is the middle age. So the fifth stage deals with middle age. It is described by the picture of a judge or one who practices law. In this stage of life, one starts to mature and becomes wiser than before. So this is a judging style. Middle age is a judging. You judge others. You judge what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. So you crystal clearly make the distinction between goodness and the worst things in life. So this is the middle age in which you become a judge. You practice the law in its sense that you get a certain sort of maturity in your life, which help you judge others, judge yourself, judge the things all around you, and you become a bit wiser than before. This is what happens in middle age. So then the old age, the typical age. So in this age, what happens? Shakespeare says that Old age is nothing but a second childishness. You again become and you behave like a child. Just before the final stage comes old age, turning the manly voice of youth into the childish trembles and whistles. So you are very manly in middle ages. You are very strong, stout in the middle ages. But what happens in the old age? You suddenly become very trembling, very whistling, right? So you suddenly become like a child and you go on losing your manly voice of youth. So this is a typical age in which you are not able to hear, you are not able to see things, there's no teeth, nothing is there. You simply face many problems. In the old age, Shakespeare said the same thing. This is also one of the stages in your life that you are going to compulsorily experience in your life. It makes the body weak and the mind dependent upon others. So look at the old age. Old age is very dangerous because in the old age, your body is weak, you are not able to walk, you are not able to see things properly, you are not able to enjoy things. Okay, the mind is feeble, the mind is stored with thousands of memories. Okay, and you want to find out a partner who can listen to your old stories, and all these things will be there. And it means you are dependent on others. In your youthful phase, you are hardly dependent. But in the old age, you are absolutely dependent on others. So the last stage Shakespeare is talking about, that is the death. In the final of the seven act play of life, the strange and eventful history ends abruptly. It leaves a man with nothing. So in my last lecture also, I gave you the example of the Alexander, okay, the world conqueror. So what happens is that once you meet your death, you will have to keep everything here. You cannot take your property with you. You cannot take your possessions with you, home with you, mother, father, relatives, or all those things whom you like very much. You cannot take the things from your life because you are born alone, you live alone, and you go alone. This is the philosophy of life. Shakespeare says that this is the end of your life, that in the final finale of the seven act play of life, the strange and eventful history ends abruptly. It leaves man without nothing, and nothingness is the center of the life. So let's see the lines from line 1 to 6. All the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exist and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being seven ages. At first, the infant living and poking in the nurse's arm. So in the first lines of All the World is a Stage, the speaker Jacks begins with the framed lines that later came to denote the entire speech. He declares that all the world is a stage and that of the people living in it are merely players. Very simple to understand that this world is a stage. The world is a stage. And on this stage, the actors are performing their roles. The actors are performing their roles. So that's why Shakespeare says that you are only a player. Just you come here, act, work, play, do your duties, do your karmas, and finish your life. So here he says that this world is a stage and you are only the performer. This sets up what is one of the most skilled conceits in all of English literature. Every person, no matter who they are, where they were born, and what they want to do with their lives, wakes up every day with a role. They enter, they exit, and just like the performer. So you enter in this life as a ha. So this sets up what is one of the most skilled conceits in all of English literature. Every person, no matter who they are, who they were born, where they were born, and what they want to do with their lives, wakes up every day with a role. They enter, they exit, just like a performer. In my last lecture, I did something on my palm, I explained something about life. So this is something about life. In my last lecture, I explained. I think most of you know about this. So here is your birth, here is your end, and you live this life only. But birth is your beginning, death is your ending. So in this fashion, it is meant that once you start living your life from your birth till death, so it is compulsory for you to perform your own action. This is the world, we can say. This world is like a stage. Shakespeare says this, for example, this is a palm. So on this palm, you can understand that this is your world. This world is a stage. And on this world, you perform your roles, different roles, 7 roles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 roles you are performing. And in every role, you are supposed to act brilliantly or do your work brilliantly. So there is the beginning and there is the ending of your role. So here, every person, no matter who they are, suppose you are rich, you are going to die. You are poor, you are going to die. So at any cost, you are supposed to uh, do your works, whatever you may be. So what they want to do with their lives, wakes up every day with a role, they enter, they exist, means entrance and exit is compulsory to all of you, like a performer. It is important to note that at this point that these lines would be read on stage in front of an audience, the extended metaphor would not be lost on anyone listening or watching. The actor is declaring to the audience that you are just as much of an actor as he is. So here we are talking about the first 6 lines, 1 to 6 lines, in which we learnt about the Jack, how he communicates with the audience through his monologue. So before the listener starts to get concerned about the role they have to play, Jack adds that a man or woman plays many different parts in their lives. As an actor does, whoever the actor may be on the stage is not only Jack's, he is also many other actors throughout his career. It is the fifth line of the monologue that Shakespeare brings in a slightly more complex concept, that of the 7 age of humankind. The first of these is the infant. So lines number 7 to 18, and then the winning school bag with his satchel and shining morning face creeping like the snail, unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like Fernand's with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow, then a soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth, and then the justice in fair round belly with good caption capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. So as the speech progresses, Jax continues to describe how someone ages, the roles they play, and what everyone is like, generally at different times in their lives. One will at some time be a winning school boy, a lover sighing like Parnasse. There will be sorrows, ballads, and losses. One will become a soldier and take oaths of elegance while seeking out of fight. Here he is a soldier. This is one of the most difficult stages in one's life, and if drafted, not one that someone could ignore. The man's youth has given way to a full beard like a pard or leopard. In these lines, there is also an interesting metaphor comparing a human or animal blowing a bubble with its mouth to staring down a cannon that might fire at any moment. Finally, this metaphorical person becomes the justice or magistrate, someone with a steadier knowledge of what is right or and wrong. They have wise saws, wise sayings, and modern instances or arguments for legal cases we can see. So this is the stage. So line number 19 to 29, and so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with speeches on nose and pouch on side, his youthful horse well saved, a world too wise for his shrunk shank and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish tremble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history. In second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans test, sans everything. So, in the sixth stage of man's life, he moves into the pantaloon or comfortable clothes worn by old man. His youthful clothes are too loose because he has lost weight with age. He is lost in his deep voice. It reverted back to someone that is closer to what he had in one of the earlier stages of his life. The last stage of man's life is his second childishness. Old age is the second childishness and mere oblivion. This is what he loses control of everything that is made him an adult. Now he is helpless and dependent on others as he was when he was a child. He is sans. Sans means without. He is without taste, without eyes, without teeth. Sans test, sans eyes, sans teeth. The final image in the man without everything, his life, all its intricate memories and details are lost. So this is all about the poem. So in this fashion, your poem is over. So in which he talks about the seven different stages of man. Just time is there 5 minutes. So I would like to talk about the theme of the poem. So in All the World is a Stage, William Shakespeare discusses the futility of humanity's place in the world. He talks about the theme of time, the theme of aging, the theme of memory, and he also talks about the purpose of our life. Actually, this is presented in the form of a monologue, and in this poem, the person or an individual is an actor, he's a player of a large game in life. Shakespeare talks about time, he talks about infancy, childhood, the ending of our life, how the man becomes a lover, how he becomes a soldier, how he becomes a judge. Judge means that sort of mentality, that sort of maturity or immaturity have been stated in the uses of the metaphorical words like lover, soldier, judge. So we have to understand that with reference to this. So one can explore many themes in Shakespeare's All the World is like a stage. So there is a tone and mood of the um, poem in which The tone is somber and a bit depressing. Shakespeare is talking about life, he is talking about time, love, death, beauty, and all these things through his short monologue. So, in this poem, he also talks about the seven stages that every individual is supposed to undergo. So, in this poem, the poet also talks about the karmas, the role of a man. So, what can be the historical context of this poem? In Shakespeare's comedy, As You Like It, Rosalind and Celia encounter some memorable characters in the forest of Arden. So, Jacques, the melancholy traveler, is the most notable of them all. He speaks many famous speeches, such as too much of a good thing. See, one thing, too much of a good thing. So, look at the famous speech, too much of a good thing. A fool, I met a fool in the forest. Look at the famous uh, speeches in As You Like It, Shakespearean comedy, like a fool, I met a fool in the forest. And one more title of your poem, that is All the World is a Stage. So this is from the monologue of the Jack in As You Like It. So Jack's monologue is an echo of the motto of a new Globe Theatre. So that is the echo of the new Globe Theatre, which was opened in the summer of 1599. The motto was Totus Mundus Esit Histrionem, meaning all the globe is a world. All the world is a stage, but there in the Globe Theatre, so the meaning of this motto, the motto was like this: all the globe is a stage. Globe means world. The play was written in the same year, 1599. So in his book, William Shakespeare um, uses many metaphors which tells us the real essence of life. So T.W. Baldwin states that Shakespeare's version of the monologue is based upon Palingenius Zodiacus Vitae. Shakespeare would have studied this school text at the Stratford Grammar School. The text presents stages of a man's lifespan. He would have taken inspiration from Ovid and Juvenal. So this is the inspiration of William Shakespeare from Ovid and Juvenal. So we talked much about this poem, and I hope that you understand this poem thoroughly. So reread the poem, try to read the poem between two lines, try to understand the meaning of the poem thoroughly, and hope uh, you understand the poem to its fullest sense. Thank you very much for spending your precious time with me. So we end our lecture here. Have a nice day.